Okay, you ready?
Terry, you're all set.
Thanks, Dan. Ready?
There you go.
Thank you. I'd like to call the regular meeting of Narragansett Planning Board to order September 19th, 2023. Mr. Friday. Here. Mr. Brunet.
Here.
Brunetto, excuse me, dear. Mr. What's your name? Brady.
Brady here.
Dr. O'Neill.
Yeah.
And Mr. Fleming, I'm here. Just let the folks know again, we're now live on YouTube. There's a camera up there, there's a camera there. When you speak to the board, please go to the podium because that camera will be pointed to the podium. Mics are very sensitive, so try to keep side discussions down because they pick up a lot. And
Besides that, they're disrespectful.
well, yeah, but they're also very sensitive. So, first item, actually I just want to make a note that I would like to move the recommendation to town council on the Agave restaurant to like the third spot tonight, if the people are here. If they're not here, then we'll keep it at the end. You are here, sir? All right, so I'm gonna, after the first two items, then we'll go to you, okay? Okay, thank you. So first is the consent agenda. There's one set of minutes. It's August 15th, 2023. Anyone have an edit or a comment or a change?
I thought the notes on page, third page under 9R, where it starts, S. Norsal advised the planning board. I thought that was for the previous, that was for 8R is what I thought.
Wait a minute, what page? The
The
last page?
last page. Last page.
Recommendation to town council.
I thought that discussion was about the recommendations for the zoning ordinances. That was my recollection.
Yeah, I don't recall if it was,
Wasn't mixed use.
but I think what Rupert's saying is they were, if I get this correctly, Rupert, that they were both identified under a single agenda item, kind of like sub A, sub B of one agenda item.
Yeah,
Because we did speak about both of them
Yep.
separately.
I just remember the discussion about, because I was arguing, let's put all the changes together for the zoning ordinance, and legal counsel said it would be good to keep them separate, and this is why. And that's what I thought it was about the zoning.
So how would you amend that?
I just would take that language from 9R and move it into 8R under the paragraph, Chairman Fleming stated that subcommittees have been established to incorporate mandatory changes into the zoning ordinance.
And then leave 9R to talk about mixed use ordinance under affordable housing? And just take the
Oh, yeah,
Marcella
no, he's
paragraph?
right, my advice was to move, was on the zoning ordinances, not on
Right,
the
so where it says S. Marcella,
Yep.
Yeah,
that
should-
paragraph
should
under
go to
8R.
Yep.
And then 9R just is that one paragraph.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody agree with that? We'll just make that change, have a motion to pass.
Second.
Motion by Dr. O'Neill to pass the August 15th minutes with that change, seconded by Mr. Friday. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Clark Road subdivision preliminary plan, major subdivision with street creation, plat V, lot 27. We're just continuing, right, Mr. Resnick?
That's right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm requesting a continuance, and I'm requesting the continuance to December 13th at this time. I can tell you that the work that was required to be done to set us up to be in a position to apply for the new wetland permit without variance was completed. It was completed in time. The RIDEM submission for the new wetland permit will be coming within the next couple of weeks or so. Mr. Cato, our engineer, after that work was completed, has to go down and survey as is conditions relative to that submission. So that's why there's a little lag time between the completion and our submission. I will just tell you, I want to be clear that it is likely that we will not be ready to go before you until 2024 in
Correct.
January. But because your calendar's not set up and the requirement of a date certain, that's why we're asking
Yep.
for December 13th.
Understood. December 13th in stone, so we're gonna continue it to that, but we don't know when January's gonna be official.
Mr. Chairman, is it a confirmation that it's December 13th? Is that the December meeting?
That's our scheduled meeting.
Heidi?
I'm double checking.
Believe, did you check the calendar? I mean,
I
we had approved the December meeting. I don't know what the date is.
I had, and I believe I had conferred with staff, and my recollection was it was December 13th.
December 13th.
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's a Wednesday.
We
Okay.
moved it up because we try to stay away from the
Christmas.
holiday date.
Yeah, okay.
And just one other item that I would add, I'm sure the board wants to know about, it's time to consider the application after that date. And I'll put on the record right now, we're happy to give a 60-day extension from the date of that new hearing. As you recall, this will be our third meeting before you at that time, but I know that the deadlines are always a concern of a board, so I just want to put on the record that obviously.
You've granted us this
Yes.
continuation now.
Absolutely.
And you'll probably come back in December and do it again.
Yeah, and exactly right.
Okay.
I just want everybody to feel comfortable that we're not trying to put those deadlines too close to each other.
I don't know if we need a motion, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Move to continue
to
Seconded.
December
to
13th.
December 13th.
2020.
Seconded.
Motion by Dr. O'Neill, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Brady.
Mr. Chairman, members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you in December. Well, I won't. Just kidding. What?
Playing.
Dead man walking. Okay. Next item, final plan review, Sunset Boulevard, two-lot subdivision, Sunset Boulevard, plat R-1, lot 155. I don't know if anyone's here to represent them, but there was one outstanding item
Yes,
that's
Mr.
still
Chairman.
outstanding, and we haven't received it yet, so,
I left them on the agenda, and out of an abundance of caution, there was one outstanding item from the checklist. The applicant was notified that he needed to submit that in order for me to issue completeness, but because it was just a document, it did not need any, did not affect the technical analysis of the subdivision, that I left it on in case the applicant came here with it, in which time you would have been able to, should you wanted to, certify
yeah, we
completeness
could
yourself.
have done it. Okay.
But since he has not brought it, that application remains incomplete, and I will be awaiting him sending it.
So, can I have a motion to continue that?
Move to continue.
Seconded.
Motion to continue by Dr. O'Neill, seconded by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And next item, I'm gonna move the recommendation to town council, change of use in the UR zone, 23 Pier Marketplace, Agave Restaurant. Sir, you wanna come up to the podium and identify yourself?
Good afternoon, my name is Roberto Leon, one of the partners at Agave Social.
And Mr. Leon, you, I believe, are you in receipt of staff's summary?
Yes. Someone communicated that to my attorney.
Yes, I saw
Okay.
this here, attorney. Yep.
So, there were some issues last time this came up with us, and they've all been addressed to some degree or another, and maybe, I don't know if you want to start right in on the parking requirement. We wanted an analysis of
Yeah,
the parking.
the parking analysis was already completed, and we have plenty of parking. It was done by our architect, our local architect here in Narragansett.
And that was submitted to Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
And Mike, your summary shows that it's 2 spaces short?
That's right.
So would they need a variance, they would need a variance from the town council
They need relief. I'm not sure if
On
it's a
the
special use
two-
permit or a variance. Under the urban renewal laws, I'd have to double check that.
They
But
wouldn't, yeah, they need to be.
But the council would have to grant some, either special use or variance for 2 spots.
Right.
Other than that, yeah, he has enough spots.
Right.
And from my perspective, that would be fine. I mean, I would positively recommend that, just all that parking, and it's only 2 spots. We've had more spaces requested,
Yeah.
on variance than that. I don't
In that
think that's,
neighborhood.
yeah, in that neighborhood, I don't think that's a big deal. That's my own opinion, but, Joe?
When the library gets busy, I'm just kidding. Maybe not in my time.
And just, do you know your hours?
Yeah, we're gonna be open, 11 to 10, and those are our hours. With
7
Sunday-
days?
Sunday closing in probably at 9, yeah.
Okay.
And during the winters, those hours might vary a little bit depending on
Mm-hmm.
how the winter treats us. Might
You
close a
you
little
have other restaurants?
bit. Yeah, have some in Madison, some in Rhode Island, yeah.
And is most of the business for dinner in the evening, or is it pretty much the same all day?
No, I mean, we do the bulk of our business during the dinner time, yeah, between, say, 6 and 8. Yeah, 6 and 9.
Are you sit in or take out,
Dine in and
Dine.
take out both, yeah.
percentage wise?
I would probably say 80-20. As long as we don't have another
Okay, so that was the parking issue. Joe, do you have a question?
You're gonna get to it, and this is the outdoor
Yeah.
seating.
Then there was
People
liquor
picking up and
service.
drinking more, no, they don't.
So you're gonna have outdoor seating,
Correct.
and there's been a concern
Uh-huh.
with this board on other restaurants in the
Okay.
area, that there's proper security, people are tip certified, there's somebody
Right.
standing guard. We've had more concern with some of the other locations in town that people might wander off with drinks because of where they are, down by the seawall.
Okay,
I'm not sure many people are gonna wander off here with a drink.
Yeah.
But you still need to have security.
yeah, I mean, so.
Where
we'll
will
have-
the seating be? Right there?
Yeah, the outdoor seating would be from, this area right here, in front, yeah.
It's gonna be built out with,
Yeah.
I can put the plan up if you like.
That's part of that condo unit, that's not public. Sidewalk there?
No, that would be either common area or limited common area, it's not
Right.
public.
No, it's not public.
So they would have a right to
Correct.
put their seating.
Depending on the condo docs, as long as the association approved it, they certainly can put the space there.
Okay.
And I believe with the library that the sidewalk is a limited common area, so which would go with the unit, which would allow them
Got it.
greater rights.
Got it. And how many outside seating would you have, approximately?
Probably, let's see, 24 seats.
I think we have the floor plan, there's a seating plan.
There you go.
4 or 5 tables?
Yeah.
I got it closer.
Yeah, so there you go, so 8. Shooting for like 24.
And there'd be staff assigned to that to monitor?
Yes, that's correct. So we're all tip certified, and anybody that, that's
Question.
serving alcohol, that would be tip certified.
Joe?
Question. Yep. If I get this going, what about these 2 tables? They're right in front of the door here.
Mhm.
I saw this plan, I thought, I understand these, but what's this?
Those are, it's like a little area right next to the entryway there that, we were thinking about putting tables.
Well, if you're gonna control people wandering around outside with a drink in their hand, you're not gonna control these people.
Okay. Control them and, like from walking away with their
Yeah.
alcohol?
Yeah, if these people here, they
Yeah.
get up with their drinks, they wanna go for a walk, I don't know, to the village or down to the water, at least you have some kind of a barrier here and they have to go through here.
Oh, no, then we would have to have a barrier there too.
Here?
Rope it off, yeah, or whatever, if we were gonna have the tables there, correct?
Yeah, cause
By
to me,
the-
they just
by our
like were
liquor-
sitting,
Yeah,
Yeah.
by our liquor lot, we'd have to have it.
sitting, sort of free and clear, or however to say it.
Yeah.
So they could do, what, like a rope barrier?
Uh,
You have to make a permanent wall like Monahan's, they could
You
have.
don't need, you would, on a lick, you would just need a rope barrier. I don't know if you've ever been to like Sienna and East Greenwich.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
it's demarcated, but it's not a.
But it's,
it's not a hard,
okay, so that would be, you'd have to do, and would they have to do that to comply with state liquor
That's
license?
the.
Correct, we have to do that to comply with state.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, anyone else have any questions on the liquor?
no, that was my only question, is those two row seats.
And then the noise, music,
We wouldn't have any live music outdoor or anything like that, no. If anything, we'd have a little speaker, but it wouldn't be, like, we would have a speaker outside, but it wouldn't be nothing loud, and we're not a party scene by any means. We're just a family, local restaurant.
yeah, be prepared, the council will ask you about the music,
Oh, you got it.
so.
They have certain taste.
Does anybody have a question about that? I mean, that an issue, Mike, I mean, there's noise levels, right? I mean, but it's not being eminent, it's not being generated by live music inside.
No,
It's just recorded music.
Correct, it would just be something that we would play through a Sonos speaker system.
Right.
Just for like background. you know,
Ambiance.
Ambience, there you go, like an ambience music, yeah.
It's a restaurant, not a nightclub.
Not a
Yeah, I
night,
don't
definitely not a
I don't
nightclub.
think there's anything
Yeah.
We-
for us
Okay.
to weigh in on.
Then we asked about the lighting plan. Your lawyer indicated there'd be soft lighting for outdoor purposes.
Correct, yeah, I mean, just some ambiance lighting again, maybe like some string,
Right.
for, lights, nothing crazy, we don't want nothing too bright either. and
Yeah, you don't want.
Nothing would be pointed up or to the street, obviously, it would be just ambience lighting to the tables.
And where they are, I'm not sure they're inconveniencing anyone.
No,
Light.
it's,
I mean, they're in
I think
the-
when you, give me a second,
It is on the
here's the site plan, and this is the building right here. This is the former grocery store, now the library. So as you can see, it's in the front is this part of the building. I suppose I could make this bigger so we can see it a little better. The front entryway is gonna be on this side. So it all faces inward. So I think lighting and sound will all be mitigated through the fact of its orientation.
Yeah. Do you know you're occupying an iconic Narragansett pizza
I've heard
restaurant?
from your Pit and Patio,
Pit and Pat.
Been that?
yeah, so I'm friends with Barry that owns Bayscape.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great guy, and he's the one that brought that
Yeah.
up. He's like, oh, we used to go there and get pizza by the slice when we were younger.
Yep, yep, it was quite the place. It was quite the place. So that's the lighting. Landscaping, this was an issue, but I'm not sure what landscaping
Yeah.
we could compel the applicant to do, except pots and planters.
There was at one time something growing here in the front of the building. Certainly that's going to be taken up by the outdoor patio. So question mark of whether something outside of that could be put in, out here somewhere. Out here somewhere could be installed to add a little ambiance. I don't know. You've got some landscaping over here. I do not believe that's being proposed to be removed. Is that correct?
We weren't thinking about removing that, no. I was thinking about, what we had thought about was maybe doing planters, like hanging from our patio, things like that,
Yep.
That's how we have it in other patios, where we have planters. We're actually building one right now where the knee wall is actually gonna be a planter all around.
Yeah,
so-
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
suggest,
See
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah.
That
The
could
knee
be,
wall could be a planter,
planter could help with the
could help with
control.
noise, could help with lighting, could help with
So
everything.
make it look nice and,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, whatever we can come up with our designs and
Now-
everything.
Michael, what will they need to present to the council in a definitive form with that? Or will the council just allow them to,
There should be some graphic representation of what they're gonna do.
when are you in front of the council?
October 2nd.
October, yeah.
Can you
I'll do my best. to
have some
something.
graphics on,
Yeah.
if you could, the lights, the layout on the outside, the barriers and the landscaping, it would all help
Yeah,
when you go to the council.
you got it. I don't know if we'll have like the patio ready to go by the time that we're hoping to be open by now, but it's just a process, but
Well, maybe next year you'll have.
there you go. We can probably design something
Yeah.
with our design team and really lay it out. You know what I mean? So I don't rush about it or stuff. Yeah.
But some landscaping, if you had some graphics and where the lights may be,
So maybe, because this isn't new for you guys, you've done this before,
Correct.
and maybe some pictures of things you've done at other places.
Most definitely.
And I would relate to them the fact that you are experienced, this isn't new. You know, we've controlled the area, we've kept it,
Got it.
and that bodes well by them.
You got it.
so there's information here about architectural detail, Michael,
Yeah.
paint and siding
Yeah.
and,
That is part of the ordinance, by the way.
but would the applicant be changing that? Will you be changing what,
They,
will you be painting it a different color?
We are gonna be painting it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, make it a little.
what they provided us was this. I'm not sure if it's clearly represented. I've got the actual sample in the file over there.
What is it?
It's a natural shingle, that's real cedar shingle. It's a gray stain, and the color looks like black, but it's kind of a really dark green.
So it's complementary to what's there.
So the, so the siding gets painted gray and then there's a greenish, dark green trim?
Right, which, in my mind, oops, sorry. I believe that is intended to complement what's already on the building. I'm not sure if that dark trim is actually green or black or.
But it won't
the
look
same.
materially different than that, will it? It'll just be.
It's very close. Yeah, it's not like
A little
it's.
different.
Little
Not
different.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure the council sees that too.
Yeah, I can give that back to you if you need it. It's in the file.
And then the last thing was the authorization by the owner. We, unlike other ones in this area, we don't have that issue. They've signed off on this.
I received an email from Mr. Hallberg, actually the day of the meeting you had last month. So it's in file.
So he's okay with it.
He supports it, yes.
This application.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, does anybody have any other, before I go to the public, are there any other issues that we had?
I just think that knee wall with plantings will further separate it and give it more privacy. I strongly prefer that over hanging lights.
Okay. Well, let me see, the public, anyone in public have a comment on this? You wanna come up?
Yeah.
Come up to the, identify yourself, please.
Lori Kelly, I'm here representing the Narragansett Casino. We applied before you last month. Just the update is the town council turned us down because Scott Hallberg and the Newport Restaurant Group blocked us, so we're at DVR. That being said, just to be on the public record, that I welcome Agave to come here. I think all the places in the pier should be filled. It is good business to have lots of business down there. We all benefit from the foot traffic. I have no fear of competition, and if I could block their liquor license, I would not do that. Mr. Hallberg is renting the space to Agave, which is why he doesn't object to it. We own our building, and he's blocking us. And again, I just want to say thank you for all your support, for fighting the good fight, and welcome to the neighborhood. I know you're professionals, and it will really help us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Anyone else? No. Okay, so there's some recommendations here. I don't know if you've seen them, sir. So Leon, if you have the copy of them. The last page of,
It's a fairly short list if you want me to read it or if you'd like to read it, Mr. Chairman. As you can see, I wrote up 6 recommendations for your August meeting, and one of them goes away, so there's 5 that have been reworded
And we may want to add to them or not.
and you might want to add to that.
All right, so the first one is that the relief of 2 parking spaces is accurate, reasonable, and acceptable. So if the board passed favorably, then that would be one of the conditions to the council, right? Exterior samples are determined to be acceptable. That's the paint and trim that we looked at. Ensure proper protection of the outdoor bar area through submittal of a more detailed security protocol for approval by the town council. So you'd want a graphic that shows, well, you do on your site plan, but I do something with those other 2 tables too,
Yeah.
to make sure, and then describe, I think, the tip certified and the security that you have and the
Yeah.
experience that you have and all that. And landscaping plan for review by community development and approval by the town council. Mr. Brunetto is suggesting, you want to add to that the planters, Jerry?
My planters, the knee wall,
Yeah.
holding the planters, yeah. That'd be great.
So that would be one of the recommendations to the council. We could amend that to say that, Michael,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
if the entire board wants to do that.
And if I can interrupt,
Yeah.
the reason I wrote it that way is I'm anticipating, and you may, you have all the right in the world to reverse this, but I was anticipating that if the board felt comfortable and supportive, that the landscaping component could be handed over to me to keep this project moving forward, rather than having to come back to you folks for review of the landscaping and stuff.
I'm okay with that, but I want to incorporate Jerry's
Yeah.
request into that.
Sure, and I
Okay,
can
so-
write that in.
Okay, and that the location, type of exterior lighting fixtures be provided. So, again, I don't know if on that site plan, they were there.
If they were, some parts of the architectural drawings were a little difficult to read, but I didn't see on these facade drawings anything to do with where the lighting fixtures were going.
So you may, when you get this, if we pass this, you may want to have that amended to show, when you go to the council, to show the walls and the landscaping and the lighting for the council. Because we're saying that they need to look at that.
Pictures, a visual is worth a million words.
Okay.
So if you're gonna use like Edison lighting in your enclosed area, you know, I would include that. Any pictures that it would be similar to this in another location would do well.
Yeah.
People do better when they can see things.
Yeah, I'm a complete visual person.
So those are my suggestions,
So
Mr.
what
Chairman.
we need, folks, is a recommendation to the
The
council.
only thing that's missing, Mr. Chair, I'm
Yep.
sorry to interrupt.
No, go
that,
ahead.
but It was noise, and that would be limited to,
Oh, yeah, good point.
Sonos system, similar, an internal system for ambiance,
And no live music,
no live music.
is that okay? All right, I mean, then the council knows there's no live.
Would it be like no live music outside or no live music ever, even indoor?
I'd say outside.
Outside.
I think the board's okay with outside, the council may, who knows?
Yeah,
You don't know,
you got it.
it's the council. So, But, yeah, I would say outside. You gonna add that, Mike?
Could you restate it, Mr. Brady?
Yeah, that music outside be limited to a Sonos-style internal system for ambiance music.
And no outside live music.
No outside live music.
So that would be item G.
Well, I
Well,
was
actually,
gonna
no,
move
it's
that
F.
we relabel this A
Yeah.
through F.
Yeah, it'd be
I'll take care of that, don't worry.
I figured you would.
Anything else, guys? No? You okay with that, Mr. Boone? I wish you luck. We gotta take a vote.
Did you have a motion?
Need a motion to recommend the council with those conditions?
All right. I would
You wanna do it, but you.
I would move Narragansett Pier refurbishment, 23 Pier Marketplace, from use of office to restaurant for Gavi, with the conditions A through F, as determined on page 3 of the staff report.
It's a motion by Mr. Brady,
Second.
second by Dr. Neal. Any discussion?
As amended?
As amended.
As amended.
Yes.
As amended.
Yep, A through F on page 3.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Have a good one.
Okay. Took care of that. Now we go to site review, Sokol, I hope I pronounced that right, Plat K, lot 36919 Francis Avenue. Who's here to represent Sokol? Come on up, sir. Identify yourself.
Good afternoon, I'm Brian Flood with the Stephan Brothers, representing the Sokols.
And show us what you're gonna do.
So we are proposing a expansion of a rear deck on the rear of the house and replacing an entrance stairway with a new front deck and stairs. Existing front steps are concrete and we are proposing a new wood frame composite in its place.
So that's the very steep cement steps,
Yes,
right? And they're gonna come out and there's gonna be a wood entry.
correct.
And that, is this, who's this, Ryan? Ryan, you ready? Is that what reduces the hardscape? The removal of those stairs?
It is reducing the impervious surface on the property. I
Right.
believe it was a 3% increase to the hardscape between the two deck expansions and the existing house.
Oh, it's an increase in the hardscape, but it's a reduction in the impervious surface. Okay. So the floor, the maximum hardscape, you need 280 square feet of variance. I guess I don't understand. The front steps didn't constitute that hardscape too? They're being removed. Are they bigger?
Yes, they are being removed and then the new front deck is being expanded. It's
Okay.
it's a little bit deeper and it extends
Shade
to the
carry
far
to the left.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, guys, I was writing. Just direct me. Do you want anything else to be shown?
Oh, see, that's good.
Joe has a question. Go ahead.
Excuse me, why do you have that added on? Because that's not there now. So wouldn't that bring you closer in line with the rules and regs?
So we were proposing replacing stairs and expanding it out to the corner to try to make a little more, what's the word? Kind of add to the curved feel of the house, more of a larger entrance deck to the house. So the existing steps are somewhat narrower, and then we are expanding, taking those steps all the way to the corner of the house.
Yeah, but you're, in doing that, you're asking for bending of the rules to do that. The other thing, so I don't forget, your lower steps right here,
Yes.
there's no railing there.
Yes, the existing steps through the stone wall up to this entrance.
There's six steps.
Yes.
You know, one of the main reasons people wind up in the emergency room tonight? Falling. So, yeah, if you look back over here, you might be able to grab on the wall here, on either side, but just from a prevention standpoint, you might want to consider that. But I mean, that's, if you don't need that piece over here, why? I mean, unless somebody else.
You do have a deck on the side, right? Which, are you rebuilding that?
Not on the side.
So there's a deck over there.
There are other decks on the house, yeah.
And then where's the second deck going? There's another?
There is on the rear of the house.
Oh, geez. Okay.
There is an existing deck, and then we are proposing expand.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Mr. Brady?
Yeah, so when I went out, if I can go back to the front door,
No, you want the picture?
please.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can look, you can't tell from here as well. There was another angle you could tell a little bit better. Yeah, if you could zoom in. If you look, it's a left to right pull on the door, so I can never do that, kill somebody. So if you look at it, I mean, typically you would have the door is a right to left pull, with the handle being on this side. If it was that way, you'd still have a difficulty with this landing where you'd have to step down to open. Where it's a left to right, it's even more dangerous. So this extension, while it does balance the eye here, and I can, from an architectural perspective, I understand what you're trying to do. This isn't really a huge deck. I mean, it's an alleyway deck. But it allows you to open this door and to step into this area to get access egress. So it does function as a safety function, Doc, in looking at tumbling down this slope of stairs. And that's the way I looked at it. I mean, at first I was like, okay, why do you need this? And yeah, I get it. From an architectural point of view, it extends the eye, it evens this out, it balances the house. But the more I sat there and looked at it, if you look from a safety perspective, when you swing this door, you're swinging it onto yourself instead of away from yourself, which means you've got to pitch back. And that creates a real dangerous with this slope. And you can't really change the slope. So by extending this out, you extend the line architecturally so it's a cleaner look on the house, more balanced, but it also allows you to step off to the side to gain access back into the house. So I looked at it more of a safety issue than an architectural feature.
What's causing the front yard setback? Where is that?
The stairs.
Just the stairs?
Yeah.
Does that exist today? Does that encroachment exist with the cement stairs?
Yes, the existing cement stairs.
And is no closer? These are no closer?
No, so we did it to intend to have so where the steps came down, they land the same hardscape where the existing concrete stairs do. So we don't have to modify that, and they extend the same distance, while making them a more uniform step and treading riser for safety as well.
And then show me the back deck again. What are you expanding? That side was staying the same, and that's what you're building? That's the second one you're building?
Correct. So the existing deck extends to just about the back side of the existing outdoor shower.
It's an artist.
And we are proposing extending it out to the corner.
So if that front new deck was removed, wasn't built, would it eliminate the whole 280 square feet? No. Not even close, right?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Because it's, to Mark's point, it's a, what is it, 8 by 12?
Yeah, the front one's small.
Maybe
Yeah, the front deck is 14 by 6.
14 by 6. Good eye, Mike. 14 by 6. So that's not anywhere near. So you're not eliminating the hardscape, you're just reducing it. You don't allow it back. Go ahead, Joe.
The other issue is the deck is a convenience, it's not a necessity. So this addition right here is substantial in terms of size. Would that bring it more in compliance?
Yeah, what's the dimension of that thing?
Yeah, what is that rear deck?
The rear deck expansion is about 8.5 by 12. It's that back right corner.
So this is the existing, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And the crosshatch is the addition, Doctor.
So the hardscape variance is difficult to eliminate in total. It can
Yeah, it's
only
8 by
be,
12.
it can only be mitigated, it can't be
96.
eliminated.
It's roughly 100 square feet.
What's in the back? Is there a deck at all in the back now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 10 by 12 is
No.
this one inside.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
this portion to the left of the hash area.
And that hash is what you're expanding it to?
Yes.
Okay.
It's that.
And that, okay. Neither one eliminates the variance needed for the hardscape.
Well, it minimizes the request.
It reduces it, just doesn't eliminate it.
Oh, and we've discussed decks for how many years?
30.
It's a convenience. Yeah, it's not a necessity. So it's a nice convenience. I disagree, but the reason we have the rules and regs is And where do you stop? I mean, how big? And then you say, well, that's too big. Because the excess in what you're presenting is real, so.
You guys got any? Rupert, Jerry?
You guys are tech guys.
Anyone in the public have a comment on this?
Like me, Dick.
No one in the public has a comment. Okay, so, and Ryan, you didn't have a problem with the relief requested? Okay, folks, we need a motion for completeness, then we need a motion up or down on the request.
What happened? Jeez.
She keeps hitting that low.
James is
James,
trying to play.
how long you been in this room? Come on.
You're putting Callahan to sleep back here.
He'll wake up.
Got a motion for completeness, Joe?
Sure. The application before us, Silk Tax Assessor Plat K, Lot 369 is complete and conforms to town comprehensive plan.
Seconded.
Motion by Dr. O'Neill, second by Mr. Brady, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And again, we're still on completeness as it relates to
Comprehensive.
comprehensive plan, residential.
Residential, yeah.
In
the
a
use only.
residential zone, we're not getting back to what probably needs to be knocked down after
Later, yeah.
January 1. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And then the motion itself?
You want to construct it? 'Cause
Sure.
I'm voting negative.
I got
should
you.
have been told.
I would move Tax Assessor's Plat K, Lot 369, Skoll, for approval, with the conditions as laid out within page 3.
You see the conditions?
Yeah. Did you review those?
Yes, I do have a copy with me.
Okay. All right. So I move it for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Burnett. Motion by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Negative.
Passes 4-1. Good luck with zone. Next is Harrington, Plat R-2, Lot 9, 25 East Shore Road. Mr. Callahan.
Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the board. James Callahan.
Can you,
Yeah.
James, can you
Oh, sure.
stand up there because the camera's on you?
Oh, sure.
You are a star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a star.
First time. Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for your time tonight. James Callahan, Callahan and Callahan, 3 Brown Street, Whitford. Here tonight with Elaine and Paul Harrington and Kyle Bamrick from Kyle Bamrick Architecture and Design. Elaine and Paul own property at 25 East Shore Road on Great Island, as you can see in the photograph. It's a beautiful area with a great view towards Bluff Hill Cove to the east. Elaine and Paul purchased the property about a year ago, and as with many Narragansett homes, this home has a few quirks. The property is about 1,957 square feet, but includes only 1 bedroom that has a closet. It has a study on the 2nd floor near the primary suite, but that is really the only bedroom area right now. Also, the home has a 30-foot by 18-foot wood shop or workshop area, which the Harringtons really don't have use for because the prior owner was actually a woodworker. Like that was his job, I think. So he did his work in that
Where's the
room.
where's the workshop?
It's the yellow.
James, there's a pointer on the table right there.
May I just jump in? The wood shop is the same size as the proposed addition. So we're using the same footprint of the existing footprint of the wood shop and proposing a new addition.
Right. There's no, interestingly about this project, there's no expansion of the actual footprint of the building. They're just proposing to demolish the wood shop, workshop area and construct 2 bedrooms on the 2nd floor with a bathroom and a family room on the lower floor. There's also a breeze, well, I guess it's a garage right now in the middle of the house, which is right here. And that will be a breezeway with a laundry room. So, like I said, it's an interesting,
I'm sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
Do you have an aerial of the property? I just want to look at the back.
Whoops, hang on, sorry.
'Cause I kind of stuck my head around the corner, but I didn't really.
Switching your eyes.
Okay,
That's the wood shop here.
okay, and what's that building in the back? What's that? That?
That's like a shed. It's a shed.
That's a shed,
With,
okay, so
there's
that's not what you're expanding?
No, there's no actual expansion of the footprint except for the deck, which would be off this area, new deck, which is a special use permit request. So what we're asking for is a special use permit for the coastal overlay and also a variance for the front yard setback. If you can show me the picture of the front yard, I'll show you
Is
why.
anything new encroaching further on the front yard?
No,
Nothing
that's
there.
the interesting thing. This pergola right here was built at some point in the past, and that encroaches on the front.
Not by you, sir.
No. Actually, the house itself was built, I think, and Kyle can explain this more, in the front setback as well, but that was never approved. So it's a strange construct in some respects.
But is the pergola what's generating the encroachment or the actual front of the house?
I think it's described as the
Do you know,
pergola.
Ryan?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, what was the question?
Is the pergola triggering the front yard setback? Or
Yes.
is it the front of the house that triggers it?
It's the pergola.
With your narrative, you want to keep the pergola.
We prefer it to, just because it's been there, it's part of the house, and it looks.
But it's open, right? It's
Right,
just,
it's not it's almost like a.
and it doesn't extend the length of the house.
It's a pergola.
Yeah, it's a pergola.
It just connects to the front entryway, the stairs into the house, from the parking space.
Like I
Joe?
mentioned.
Yeah,
a question.
and you wouldn't object to making sure it stays open?
I don't think so, no.
Because if you put a roof on it, then that's
It's not a pergola.
not
We
not a
We have
pergola.
no plans to expand the front of the house or any other setback except
Fact-
for the rear.
Yeah, the fact that it's open and it's somewhat attractive.
So it's one bedroom,
It's one bedroom.
Good, Mr. Harrington, come.
one bedroom, and,
Well, study.
yeah, and a study, and then you're gonna add 2 bedrooms and sewer, septic,
Septic is
Septic
already
with 3
approved for 3
3
bedrooms.
bedrooms.
Yeah, I don't know, do you guys have a plan of the house?
The floor layout?
Floor plan?
The floor
Yeah.
plan, yeah. If you go to that's existing, if you go to the second floor, excuse me.
That's proposed low level.
Yep.
Great room, that's
How
the
about that?
second floor.
Yeah, so the second floor here, so you come, there we go, you come up the stairs, and you're in this study space, which has a slider to a roof deck that is open to a slider to the bedroom. So the only door into the bedroom is here for, so you can close yourself off from the staircase, and then there's this shows swinging doors, but there's pocket doors into the bathroom, and the closet is just open to the bedroom. So this is the only sleeping space in the whole house.
There's no closet in the study.
There's no closet in the study, there's no door to the study. Again, it's, there's this big slider that goes out to the roof deck from both sides.
See now how wide that door frame is there, or that frame, that?
Yeah, it's about it's over 4 feet wide, about. It's just a cased opening, that's how it was.
If we could have Kyle explain more about the design that he went through to get what the Harringtons would prefer, just for livable space.
Yeah, sure. So there's an existing wood shop. The previous owner built that for his cabinetry business. Built all the custom millwork in the house. So it's really beautifully detailed millwork. And then there's a garage space for a boat. There's also 2 more garage spaces on the lower level. So there's 3-car garage and 1 bedroom and a big wood shop. It's not a very functional house.
Is the parking now created enough with the 2 bedrooms?
If you go to the aerial, if you don't mind, there's a fair amount of off-street parking by the garage as well. So that space is all just gravel, impervious surface. We're not planning to change anything. And the whole concept around the addition of this house is we've got an existing footprint. It works perfectly well for a living space and 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Rather than trying to overexpand this house, which we have a lot of room by right, we just want to add 2 bedrooms and a bathroom so that they can have their family come over and stay at the house. And we don't want to encroach on the CRMC any more than, you know, we understand the importance and the impact of being so close to the water. So we're trying to take a light enough approach as possible in the construction of this new addition.
But the deck is getting closer.
Correct. The deck is within the CRMC overlay district. It's about, I believe, 48 feet from that setback, from the coastal edge. It's within the zoning setback, so we're not encroaching on the zoning. It's just, it's within the buffer.
What are we there by right, 150?
157.
What is it?
157.
157.
157 from the coastal.
It's
edge.
supposed to be 200, right?
Yeah, so that's across the street.
Excuse me, Joe.
So the jurisdictional overlay is 200 feet, the proposed project is 43 feet from the features, so it's a 157 foot variance in special permit.
Correct. It's supposed to be 200.
Yes.
Yeah, but that would take it out to the street.
Yeah, we have 48 feet. Just want to correct from the survey.
Okay.
Um,
And that whole gravel area constitutes parking? That could all satisfy the parking for the 3-bedroom?
There's also, we're proposing just leaving the parking space that's in front of the existing garage on the front of the house as well. So we have more than adequate parking from our calculations.
And Kyle, all the newly constructed structure, it'll be raised so that there's no issue.
Yeah, unfortunately, when this was built, it was in the old floodplain. The structure is undersized for the new building codes, so, and also it's, you know, the structure's below, it's a bunch of sonotubes, so it can support a single-story addition, but to do a 2-story, the framing members would all be below the flood elevation, so we're raising, you know, in the new addition, we're raising the first floor, the design flood elevation is 14, we're going to 14, basically 14.6, so that we can get nice stairs coming down from the main living space down into this new living room, and then a stair up to the 2 bedrooms and a bathroom.
And that doesn't trigger a height issue?
We're actually below the existing house height, and we're below 30 feet from grade.
Okay. Joe?
Does the deck you're intending to add for the water, does that have to be approved by the state?
We can double check with our civil engineer. They've been handling some of the discussions with CRMC and,
Jill would know.
yeah.
Yeah, this project will go to CRMC after,
Yeah.
after zoning, Dr. O'Neill.
Yeah, we need to go
Yeah, for final
Okay.
consent.
planning,
Yes.
zoning, and then CRMC, so, with the 60-day review period.
Everybody. Yep. Anything else, Joe?
Guys, anything else? Rupert?
So I'm trying to figure out a couple of things.
Sure.
So one thing that has me confused is the prior approvals were for a 3-bedroom house, but they wouldn't go to 1-bedroom house?
That's correct, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
There was just a couple.
And you are, sir?
Paul Harrington.
Oh, you're the owner.
There was just a couple living there, and they never utilized or did anything with the office area. So, yeah.
But, and so the other thing I'm confused is the previous application increased the buffer to 65 feet, and yet all the drawings were showing 50 feet. I'm trying to understand where the buffer that was increased and how the buffer is now from the shoreline feature.
We can ask our civil engineer about those records. I know the history of this that came up was when they got approval for the house. CRMC requested that the front of the house setback be moved closer to the street.
Yeah, to 65 feet, right?
I thought it was a 25-foot setback rather than 30 from the front.
those are CRMC requirements, but
Yeah.
we just don't know what, if they follow through with anything, so we're gonna check, get the administrator to send after this process, hopefully, and if they raise any issues, we'll address them then, but we hope not.
Anything else, Ruth? Jerry?
No.
Anyone in the public have any comments?
I got.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would also echo, this is probably on paper, one of the more confusing ones. Only because the proposals and grants, but nothing built, and I was waiting to get, I spent so much time sitting in front of this house, I was waiting to get the police to pull up. So,
Be the first.
The neighbor confronted me.
Yeah, I had, yeah. So, I mean, the lot's much bigger in person than it is on paper, which, and I could see clearly more what you're doing. The fact that the house probably wasn't built where it was supposed to be built also doesn't help things. I mean, after sitting out there and looking at it, I realize you've mitigated as much impact as you possibly can to make this as usable as possible. It sounds like it was a bachelor's dream house, but not necessarily conducive to a family of any size. My only question to staff, FAR?
It doesn't apply.
I didn't think so. I'd like to double check. Okay. Thank you. I have nothing else.
Anyone in the public? No? Okay, Mr. Callahan, any final words?
Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Ready to roll?
Good roll.
So move the application before us, Harrington, tax assessor, plat R2, lot 9, is complete and in conformance with the town comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion for completeness, Dr. O'Neill, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, and the motion itself?
Harrington, tax assessor, plat R2, lot 9, move the application positively with the staff's comments and conditions.
You look at the condition.
Condition to be added was that the pergola remain a pergola and not be enclosed.
Correct.
But the page 3 of staff review had 6 conditions, and then 2 more, 7 and 8 on the next page. Just take a look if you have any issues. We should know about it.
Plus the one that was just mentioned, the pergola remain open.
Pergola remain open would be added, number 9. You okay with this?
Seconded.
So who made that motion? Dr. O'Neill, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
5-0. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Mr. Callahan, sincere condolences
Thank you,
from the
appreciate it.
board, sincerely. Dad was a great guy.
Thank you very much.
James, that was mine.
Well, it is now. For the first time. Good luck.
Those things are expensive.
Okay, next.
$65. I'm already missing one.
Crowell, Plat H, Lot 64-10, 50 Watson Avenue.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Hope everyone is well. I'm Brian Crowell. I'm the owner of the property. So I'm here to provide you with whatever information I can.
What year was it built?
This was built, I believe, in 1950.
Man. Gotta be the smallest house in the pier.
It may be.
What's the square foot? What's the square?
It's about 500 square feet. It consists of 2 teeny tiny bedrooms, a little bathroom, a little communal area, a kitchen. It's a super, super cute place. My wife and I bought this for our family in 2017, I believe. And we love it and we cherish it, but we do have plans to retire here, and we do have an ever-expanding family, and we would like to do an expansion. And the reason, so the backstory is that as we kind of started to develop this plan, we've been working with an architect. We have some plans developed. We realized after we had the property surveyed that the front porch is actually encroaching in the right-of-way from the street, okay? And so what we decided to do was, before we went any further and spent any more money on design with, you know, finishing plans and even finalizing any of like the way the front facade looked of the house, we figured we better make sure that if we want to build as we have designed, that we could receive a variance from the town for the front porch. If we cannot do that, then we would possibly change the front facade and not pursue that, and not spend any more money pursuing that. And so basically what I'm here in front of you to do is to like get through and go to the next step to possibly receive a variance for the front porch, in which case we would continue with design and then pursue construction sometime in the next year or two.
Continue with design, but this is the design you want.
Yes, this is the proposed design. So there are a few things that may change, like it's been a little frustrating with the design process. There's a few things like in these plans that were designed for us that would definitely not be in the final plans, like the stone pillars. There's a lot of stuff that was kind of like done for us that was plug and play that I haven't been particularly happy about. Like we're not going to have stone pillars, you know, like on the front porch. You know, on the back of the house, there's a porch that is probably going to be completely eliminated, which will reduce our overall, you know, kind of hardscape. The porch on the side will stay. The porch that goes across the back of the house is probably not going to happen right across there. But it will expand by 10 feet in the back. It will have a second story because we just don't have capacity whatsoever to even go up within the footprint of the house. And so that's kind of long and short of it. And again, so it's very, very close. It's probably like, you know, 80% of what you see in these drawings will be doing. If anything, things will be eliminated, like the back porch. Once again, it's just trying to get to the next step where we are confident that we can get a variance to move forward with the front of the
And
house.
let me ask, so what happens?
Yeah,
We
so-
pass it and then he makes his adjustments.
Yeah, so you're, I mean, just to let you know, you're kind of progressing at your own risk, meaning you're before the board for a front porch variance. If your footprint changes for whatever reason, that necessitates additional relief, whether that's
Right.
FAR, hardscapes,
Mm-hmm.
you would have to come back.
Right, okay, we understand that. And if there was anything that the board felt that there was a significant enough change, we would
But
certainly.
he could redesign the configuration as long as it didn't trigger
Correct,
any-
as long as
any
there was
variance.
no, yeah, as long as you didn't need any additional relief, you could do what you wanted on it.
Right.
You know, with just the limited variance of the front deck.
Now, the 6.3 variance, the issue that I have with, it's the entire length of the house, right?
Correct.
It's not the bump out of the stairs that's causing it.
Correct.
It's the entire front of the house.
Right, there should be like an as-built on the survey, and that porch is currently in violation of the setback, right? So this porch,
Yeah,
these
what's in
these
violation?
stairs are in violation, the front porch is in violation. The house was actually built like the front of the foundation, as we can tell by the survey, is kind of right on the setback. So anything that projects from the front of the house, including what is existing, is in violation of the setback from the street.
So even if that was maintained and it had some grandfather, which it didn't because he voluntarily demolished it, the rest of the build out in front would still necessitate a relief because the house is coming forward.
Yeah, there's a front setback line there, right there. the blue
Right,
line.
exactly, so you can kind of see, and correct, we would be expanding the front porch to be the whole length of the house, which is only 22 feet long. It's not, as you can tell by the photos, it's not a gargantuan house by any stretch of the imagination. So the width of the house will not be increasing at all. It's just that the front porch would be the entire length of the house, so it looks a little bit nicer.
Joe?
No. If you leave that picture up, please. So, let me ask you, there's no walkway out here, right?
Correct.
When you come out here and you go over here on the driveway, you could eliminate a lot of the variance request by putting the stairs right here.
Absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, one of my original designs that I presented to the architect that really didn't get transposed to the plans was to do just that and have, you know, a full-length porch that came down to within whatever we need for the rise and runs of the stairs. And then the stairs would come off the end of the porch and still be underneath the roof.
Yeah.
And then basically you would walk right onto the driveway. And that would remove the need to go out even further. And then essentially what that would do, it would remove the hardscape of the sidewalk in the front and also the stairs that would have to be kind of rebuilt as we
You still need relief for the front.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looking at like your house next door, you can see where that line, you know, obviously just this porch is when you look at that street, and then most of the people at this board, you know, we drive around, look at these things, you really get close to the street.
Correct.
When you start moving out. least I would be less negative if you just moved that over to here, but
Correct.
it still doesn't solve the basic problem.
What size lot is this?
I think it's a little over
Brian.
8,000 square feet.
It's
81.
R10.
81.
Yeah, so there's no FAR issue at all with this, right? It's not, it's well within the ratio?
Yeah, when I drove by, I thought the same thing. If you eliminate the stairs, you also eliminate the hardscape, but you also can increase your vegetation by, you could landscape that whole front of that deck, which would add to the ambiance. It certainly, to me, would be safer access egress to come into your own driveway and be that far off the street rather than coming down the street.
Correct.
So, was my thought.
And you do have railings.
Rupert?
But I guess the only thought that hit me when I was looking at it is, it looks like you're gonna pour that back wall anyhow, the footer there.
Correct.
It seems like you have enough space in the back, you could just shift the whole thing back since you're totally demolishing.
Well, we could do that, but there's currently a 10-inch poured foundation underneath the entire structure, and we would very much like to avoid it. It's already kind of breaking my heart that we have to take down as much of the building as we have to, but it just is the most cost-effective way to execute the project. You know, by the time we move some windows around and so on and so forth, it's kind of like it's more wasteful to do that than it is to just take on the structure. Very, very much like to not remove the foundation and start from scratch, and very much like to recycle that foundation and build
Yeah, I
on
was gonna
something.
suggest
So that would be, and I think that we feel so strongly about that, that if we would do that 10-foot expansion in the back, but we would probably just, I don't know, figure out a way to kind of like dress up the front a little bit, to make it look, you know, not so boxy. We just have to find a way to figure out how to do that without, you know, moving that foundation back.
But just to clarify, we are only here to discuss that front porch and the front setback.
That's the only relief
it.
that's in front of it.
That's all that we're here to discuss.
Yeah, I wasn't proposing moving the front foundation.
Right.
Yeah, he knows if he changes it, he might have to come back. Anyone in the public? Nope. Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Do you see the conditions?
Yes.
I would add another condition. I would add condition that the steps from the existing plan be vacated and moved, in looking at the front of the house, would be moved to the right end of the proposed deck, exiting and entering into the driveway area. I would make that a condition. That's the only way I would consider this.
It's also possible to reduce the size of that deck itself, right?
Well, it would, because you'd have to put the stairs in and get the rise and the run, so it's probably gonna be cut back a little bit.
Do you mean the depth of the deck from 6 feet down
The
to less
the
than?
length,
No,
going
the
the
length.
whole
Oh, the
length,
length,
the
yes.
whole length of the house, as opposed to the deck going to the door.
Right, right. The number of stairs that currently go up to it, I would imagine that the deck would end probably about 5 feet from the end of the house. So it would reduce the overall length of the deck by about 5 feet, and that would become stairs down to the thing.
And it would have to have railings.
Absolutely, yeah. It would actually be a little easier because they wouldn't be freestanding, we'd be kind of contained by the porch post in the house. So it would actually be kind of invisible from the street, so to speak.
Okay, anybody want to move this?
Did you already ask?
I did.
Do that. You missed that part.
You wanna do it?
I'll do the easy part.
Okay.
The application before us, Crow, tax assessor plat. Is that 11? Lot 6410, plot H. Lot 6410 is complete and in conformance with the town comprehensive plan.
Seconded.
That's a motion by completeness by Dr. Neal, conformity to comp plans, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, and the motion itself?
I would move in a positive manner, Crowley, tax assessors plot H, lot 64-10, with conditions as explained to the proponent in staff's recommendation. Also to include that the proposed stairs be vacated from the front and relocated as facing the home to the right end of the proposed deck to access and egress to the driveway.
That's a motion by Mr. Brady, seconded by Dr. O'Neill. Any discussion?
You need to include that hardscape, limiting the hardscape, well, it's existing hardscape because of stairs.
No, it's not. They don't need, right, correct, they don't need relief.
The relief is just for the front deck.
Just for the deck.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
You too. I know you.
But
Next
when he
review.
said it's cute, I was like,
Is
yeah. that's-
Dougherty,
that's what mine- I'm like,
N
this is what a
dash
realtor
S.
describes as cute.
Lot 228145, Colonel John Gardner Road. Mr. Craven.
Chairman, members of the board, I'm here on the last hearing before you tonight. Actually, some of you know Colonel Dougherty from his job at the state police. I find it interesting that he found the only street in Narragansett that had Colonel in the name in order to buy a house there. So, but he's come before you looking for some relief to get himself a fairly large shed that he can utilize for this new house. It is going to require two different pieces of relief. One is a dimensional variance of 15 feet in the rear yard setback and a 2% or 152 square feet of lot coverage variance. I've got Jim Calderon with me. He did the preparation work for the maps that you have and that are up here. So I'll turn it over to Jim to kind of describe to you the proposed addition and any other modifications that we'll be looking for relief from the board. So go ahead, Jim.
Thanks. Jim Calderon, South County Survey Company. Yeah, as Attorney Craven just described, we are proposing a 24 by 14 garage, 336 square feet. It is to be located completely on the existing asphalt driveway. That is really the nuts and bolts of it. Per staff report, it has been pointed out that we are about 20 square feet short on the parking requirement. After placing the garage where it is, we're losing some asphalt behind. So I had just suggested, and I believe the owner is amenable to, adding a small strip of pavement on one side or the other to make up that 20 square foot difference. These are the plans provided by the contractor, by the builder, Lakeside Trading.
I'm sorry, one side or the other of the garage?
No, of the driveway.
Of the driveway?
Yeah.
Show me where you would add that parking?
Sure, yep, yeah, so it would be either on this side here or right here.
Oh, I see,
To make up,
before the,
to
before
make,
the.
thank you, to make up the 20 square foot deficiency.
So that would be adequate for another car.
Correct.
Because where that garage is and the fence is, what, 5 feet?
It's 5 feet. Are you, from the garage to the property line here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 5 feet,
That's
correct.
5 feet, but
Right.
you'd add, in front of that, you'd add some asphalt.
Yeah, I guess it would probably make more sense to put it on this side, but just a little increase the size of the asphalt driveway here, and then come back into the corner of the garage. We're still removing a lot of impervious surface on the property, but just to, remediate the issue of the 20 square feet in deficiency for parking.
And the say about it, building inspector does count garage space as parking now.
He does, correct, as long as it's specifically used for vehicle storage.
Yep. Any other questions?
The lot coverage issue can't be mitigated by reducing nor can the side yard setback by reducing the size of the garage, right? Because then it's not a garage.
Right.
That's
It
correct.
doesn't have room for a car.
That's correct.
So I'm a little confused. We're calling it a garage, but it's on skids. It doesn't look like it's gonna have a car in it.
It is a to be modified plan that has been prepared by Lakeside, by Lakeside Trading, yeah. That's the structure, but it is, yeah, it does look like a shed here. It is to be modified.
Okay, because the
Yeah, I know,
pictures
yeah.
have the.
Yep. Understood, yep.
So is it a shed or is it a garage?
It is a garage.
Okay.
It'll be on a pad.
That's correct. Well, yes,
And what's garage height, 18 feet?
18 feet.
correct.
Joe?
Yeah, I would repeat what Nate Godfrey said back in '07. This is a very small lot with an ample house on it already, and adding a structure of any size, certainly garage, is excessive. Garage, again, I hate to be repetitious, but it's not a necessity. It's a convenience, but it's not a necessity.
Mr. Chair, could you zoom in, what's the existing setback off of that side? Because right now, you're proposing a 75% decrease in the setback.
Right, the existing setback from
Which-
the corner of the stairs here is
Yeah.
19.7 feet currently.
Right, so even from that, it's a drastic drop back,
That's correct.
even though that's in the setback. I mean, 75%, guys.
What is the rear setback in this zone? 25 feet?
I believe it's 20 feet.
20 feet.
30
20
feet?
feet.
20.
20
I
feet.
thought this was 20 feet here,
It is.
Oh,
the side setback, right?
no, it's a
It's
rear.
a rear
That's a
setback.
rear
That's
setback.
But it's
rear.
20 feet, I thought, at least in the notes, I thought.
It's our 10, right?
Rear yard setback proposed 5 feet, 20 required. So,
Is this
Required
R10
in the
or
rear,
R10?
huh? In an R10?
yeah, there's a few of them.
And it's
there.
R10,
It's R10.
And 20 is required in the rear?
20 in the rear.
20, I'm sorry, yeah.
All right.
So this line is wrong, right, Joe?
Yeah,
And it should be somewhere right about here.
I'm
correct.
sorry.
I think the rear's,
It is 20. So yeah, if that,
So your graphic is wrong, Joe.
that's correct, yes.
Yeah,
The
we
graphic's
actually
wrong.
discussed this in the office, and I had forgotten about it.
Yep,
You should have the line somewhere right about there.
yep.
So the corner of the house.
Apologize
is-
for that.
Right.
That's an oversight.
So the corner of the house is pretty close to the setback now.
That's correct, yeah. It's, I think, 3/10.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
based on stuff we've done before, I mean, the fire department likes at least 6 feet. You know, even in the worst of conditions.
yeah, there is a fence there, and then the side
Yeah.
wall of the garage only yields 5 feet, and I don't think the fire marshal's been receptive to that, nor has the board, right,
No,
Joe? I mean,
no, historically, we
for,
have.
for, you know, emergency services to traverse along the side, I don't know that they can get through. This board's also been not receptive to lot coverage variances of almost any kind, so that's the other difficulty with this one, it's not just the rear setback, it's the lot coverage. And
There has to be a hardship here.
yeah, there has to be a hardship, and it's a beautiful house, it's not a big lot, and I understand why the applicant would want the garage there, but it's not, you know, sometimes there's just not enough room.
When I was
That's the issue.
When I was out stalking the house, my question was, why can't you slide this up and in? Pull it off, so if you move it up,
Over here?
yep, you can, and then you can slide it in and give yourself more of a setback. You're sitting on existing tarmac, so, I mean, we reduce the impact there because it's give for take. I mean, was there any thought given to that? Was there?
Doesn't impact the lot coverage.
Does not impact.
Well, no, but if you look at the existing asphalt as part of the lot coverage and you use some of that for the garage space, you're not making, things aren't better, but you're not making them as worse.
The
I don't even know
entire.
if that's proper English, but my
Yeah.
question then, and that's what kept coming back to me when I was sitting out here is, can you slide this up and in and give you more of a setback relief there? You would use some of the existing tarmac as far as, because the garage becomes part of the parking. And then you might have to reconfigure the driveway in or something, but I mean, that's what kept coming back to me. I don't know if it's feasible.
I think it is feasible,
Okay.
to answer that portion. I think if you would be agreeable to that.
I don't quite understand what we're talking about. You're talking about
Slide the garage
over the...
and
Over
then
and up.
closer,
Over and up.
to.
I mean, you can't slide it over unless you slide it up.
You would take this here and move it up here.
Yeah.
You got the driver in the garage.
Right now, it's set at 20 feet from the property line. Okay, so to have enough room to park a vehicle, that is what we talked about. Thank you for reminding me. In order to have enough room to park a vehicle completely on the lot, we provided 20 feet there. To have a vehicle
Yeah, that might
off
eat
the
up
street
parking.
in front of the garage. That was the
I got you.
purpose of it.
If you slid it up and you eat some of that 20 feet, can you, and I'm just throwing stuff at the wind right here.
We're not here to redesign, too.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, but-
Can you come in with the driveway, say off that 15-foot line and angle it in to give you that? I'm just trying to,
You have the driveway go like this.
It
Yeah.
doesn't change the variance.
No,
yeah,
doesn't change the variance.
yeah.
Sure, yeah, we could absolutely do that. Yep. Right, exactly. Yep.
I don't know.
Oh, then you're below 6 feet from the house to the garage, so I think if everything is fired.
I mean, that's not for here, guys, but that's, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to
Sure.
think of something because I can't, there's no way I can approve this.
Right, we have to approve, we have to recommend, and you know, obviously, the
Understood.
zoning board makes the final
Right.
decision, but we have to recommend up or down on the setback and the lot coverage issue, so. Joe?
Two questions. This has been before this board in zoning, 07.
Yes.
How often can this go
Well,
back?
So, I mean,
Well, every year.
there's a, yeah, well, a couple of things.
Do-
It's called
do
the
longer,
doc, yeah,
do longer.
doctrine of administrative finality.
Yeah.
Most Narragansett and other cities and towns either have a 1 or a 2 year, like in Narragansett, it's 1 year. However, there's case law that says, although state towns have a 1 year, the doctrine of administrative finality can go longer than that. So you can't come back in a year and a day and then come back in a year and a day after that. There's case law out there. However, I mean, this was in 2007. I know of no cases that go more than, say, 5 years back. So I don't think the fact that it was here in 07 should have really no bearing on your
This
review
is-
of it now.
And this is a new owner.
Yeah, the owner is less important, the time is more
time is
important.
more important.
Yes, correct.
One other,
Yeah, Joe?
one other point, this is a safety issue. So this is Burbank, this is Colonel Gardner. This corner right here was difficult for me to see what was coming.
Yeah.
Right here, this corner, the foliage and the fencing is a little bit high. I shouldn't say a little bit, but it's high. So I just, that has nothing to do with why you're here, except that it put me in danger. My whole world is prevention, and I would ask you please to take a look at that, to somehow make it a little more visible as you try to come out and go that way. The vehicles moving along here at any rate, it makes it dangerous, but that's not why you're here.
I'd just like to add, that's a 4-foot fence. Which I was talking
The fence is 4 feet, but there's foliage too.
Oh. Doctor, you talking about right here?
Yes.
Over here? Right
No,
here?
there,
Yeah.
in the corner.
Yeah. I know I'm a little guy, you're a tall guy. So you might can see over. I'm not very tall.
Anybody else? Anything else, Mr. Craven?
That's it.
When are you scheduled for zoning?
I don't know if we have a scheduled date yet.
Do we have?
No, they'll go next month. Everything gets out of you first before we schedule for zoning.
Oh, I see.
We don't know if you're gonna take a couple of meetings.
We need a motion for completeness and comprehensive plan conformity.
Move the application before us, Doherty, tax assessor plat NS lot 228 is completed in conformance with the town comprehensive plan.
Seconded.
Motion for completeness made by Dr. Neal, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the motion itself, if this is being recommended negatively, then there needs to be some citation of the standards of review for the
Yes,
zoning board to
please.
consider. If you're moving it favorably, then you would include whatever conditions. If you're moving it negatively, you need to cite some standards. So, go ahead, guys.
So I remove Doherty, tax assessor plat NS lot 228 negatively with the conditions in CF and comments and standards. And that is number 1 first, if there is no question. And that's right in
page 3 and 4. You got to pick out the
Yeah,
standards.
so September 13, 2023, correspondence, standards 4A, hardship. This is no more than an inconvenience. The relief granted is not the greatest relief necessary. And the recommendations, let's see, with regard to the following: number 1, compliance; number 3, suitability; number 7, adequacy; 8, safety; number 16, availability of alternative. Anything else?
Did you guys get all that?
I believe I did, Mr. Chairman. I have, under the standards for relief, standard number 4, for variances, standard 4, and then A. And then under planning board review, 1, 3, 7, 8, and 16.
Joe?
Yeah, yes.
I got a second on that?
Seconded.
Motion by Dr. Neal, second by Mr. Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Good luck with zoning.
Good luck.
All right, so the last thing on the agenda, there's 2 things. We need to get some special meetings out scheduled. Gentlemen, we need to get special meetings scheduled to do the legislative stuff. And also, I was going to ask Mr. Marcella to just give us a brief update on the legislative changes for 2024, and also to address, to the extent that anybody can be comfortable addressing what we do as we get closer to 1/1 with the new change in laws in terms of trying to administer applications before us in October, November, and December, where the people may have to restart all over again under a new set of rules after January 1. I did speak with Mr. Marcel briefly and was told that I could not put people on the agenda, which I agree with, but we could have a conversation with people and say, this may be coming your way. If you go through in November and December, you may have to come back and bring all your experts back again, so at least that conversation would be would be available. So, Mr. Marcello, do you want to give us a
No,
really high
you
level?
wanna do the dates first?
Yeah, so, Mr. DeLuca, so just let me set this. After discussing it with everyone involved, although everybody's not, everybody's nervous about it, I did communicate to the council president that before the end of the month of October, we would get a recommendation because the council needs a public hearing and 2 readings before the first of the year. And I don't want to give it to the council too late where they say we didn't have time to enact that. So if we get it to them by November 1, they will have time. They have 2 meetings in November and 2 in December, and they can call a special meeting. But they can also, as Steve reminded me, have the public hearing on one night and do the first reading that same night if they want.
Correct.
So we still have a lot of work to do, so Mike and Heidi and Jill have listed some meetings. I thought we were gonna grab one of these, but maybe we need more than one. We also have our regular meeting on October 18th, right? And then conversation with Mr. Friday today, I thought he had an excellent suggestion about
17th.
Give-
Regular
17th,
meeting's October 17th.
okay, about giving the council some sort of overview sometime in October, if we can. That would be Mike and Steve, giving the council some kind of overview, maybe at a work session if prior to a council meeting, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to talk to my boss. which
Correct.
is Mr. Davis.
Right, but I think it's a good suggestion by Rupert to do that so that they know what's coming. We can do that sometime in October, so when we drop it on them by the end of the month, they're not totally out of the loop. I would hope they're not now, but they might be. But that would be, and that would be, I think, Rupert, you described it as 20,000 feet, just,
I think give them the 20,000 feet about how this is gonna impact staff workloads and the shift. The
Yeah, it'd be good
the
to
extra work.
have Wayne, Wayne present. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
Wayne-
A lot of this is really
and
being,
budgetarily, it's
Yeah.
right. I mean,
being pushed to the building official.
right. So, they need to know this.
And the town responsibility for notifying the butters instead of the builder and developers, so I think.
Yeah,
some
the
big
cost,
shifts.
the
Yeah.
cost and that. So I think that's a good suggestion. Hopefully sometime in October, we could have that and maybe council president would be amenable to a 5:30 or 6 PM.
Yeah, we don't want to put this on the regular agenda.
No, but a work session prior, on a council meeting, because it's always easier to get the council on a meeting that they're there, night that they're there anyhow.
Yeah, they don't seem to like special meetings
They
on
they
off
don't
nights.
tend to do
Even though
as
it's in
many
the
as we
charter,
do.
but.
As many, but so we would want to do that maybe an hour ahead of time, and that would force everybody to really keep it at 20,000 feet, so they got the understanding. So I guess we got a few things. How many special meetings do we have?
Well, we have, Heidi's sent to you a list of 5 dates. None of those is your regular meeting date. The regular meeting date is the 17th of October. We might even have availability of October 10th because it looks as though the Historic District Commission doesn't have an agenda for this month, so they might cancel. Haven't spoken with the chairman yet, so that's only a possibility. But it was my impression that we've got 3 different groupings of changes to look at. The generic changes to the zoning ordinance and that are dictated by various bills. Particularly the adaptation to the new modification requirement, which, as you know, modification has been enabled for many years but has never been required. Now it will be required after January 1st. Unified development review and development plan review. These are things that we do not have in the regulations today. Then there's another set of regulatory changes that need to be put in place specifically for the comprehensive permit applications. And then there's a third set that need to be put in place specifically for subdivisions and lane developments. So I was thinking we would take these as 3 separate meetings. If that sounds a little too much, then we need to discuss how you want to merge them into 2 or 1.
Well, let me ask the first question. What does October 17th look like right now in terms of, do we have any sense of that?
Three sites, 3 site reviews.
We can do a minimum, I mean, I could fill your agenda, but right now, at least 3.
No, what, I need to know what we have to do. So if we free up any time, 3 of them? And I'm putting you on the spot, you don't
Well,
have
we
to
should
answer.
do some,
I have
because we have
to is a
long
difficult
list.
question. I mean, we can have, for sure, as of discussion today, we can have 3 ready. I could have, I don't know if we could have more ready.
I'm
with
just
all
trying
of
to
our-
see if we
honestly,
can free
Mr.
up
Chairman, I don't
time
know.
on the 17th, but let's take the 17th aside and just
Yep.
assume that we're gonna have a regular meeting that night and not deal with this stuff on the 17th. Okay. So, can we on the 10th or the 12th do 2 of those modules?
I won't be in the country.
That's all right, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's fine.
2 of those modules, right?
Well, if we were to stick particularly with the zoning, we would do the zoning generic changes, those that relate to modification, and unified development review, and development plan review. Adding in the changes in the zoning ordinance that go to comp permit, comp plan. See, the comp permits affect both ordinances, so it's a little bit of work. But I would put those 2 together and I'd leave subdivision for its own time. Because
Well,
there's so much
what I'm
in that.
thinking is, whatever the second meeting is to do the subdivisions, if we can do 2 and then the subdivision, that second meeting, we can also vote on all 3 of them.
Yeah, oh, I get it.
Because we have to send something to them
Right.
before the end of the month. So if we just do 2 special meetings with our regular meeting in October, that second special meeting has to be, we have to nail down the language on 1, and hopefully we've already nailed down at the previous meeting the other 2.
Yeah.
And then we can vote on all 3 and send it to them so that they have it. Unless we free up time on our regular meeting and do 1, 1, and 1 in terms of the modules.
Well, then why don't we just set
Set
2
the
special
2 special
meetings?
meetings, that's right.
And then
see
you
how
and
we
Jill and I can
how you
work on the
modify
agenda
it.
for the regular.
And if we can't free up time on the 17th to do one of the modules, we'll know that ahead of time. We'll have to do 2 on the 12th.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm assuming that all this can get done.
That's why we're hedging our bets on the number of things we can
Yeah,
put
it's
on
an
the regular
absurd
meeting.
assumption, but I mean, I think we have to.
Yeah, there's only so many work hours between now and then.
But I just want to get to the practical aspect of this, because I talked to Mr. Marcello weeks ago. There are things that we have control over, that we have discretionary decision-making that we're going to probably recommend adjustments to.
Correct.
That stuff, I think we absolutely have to get to the council so that they can get it in by 1.
Yeah, I mean,
The
that's.
stuff that's required by the laws, what happens if we don't change an ordinance language?
It's confusing.
It's confusing, I get it.
We would be bound to follow state law.
Correct.
It would be confusing for the public. Someone would come pull up our Muni code and it would say X, where that X is no longer
They
valid.
go see Wayne and he'd say, no,
and
it's this, and they say, but I read it here.
exactly. So it's more.
Yeah, that's bad.
Now, yeah. So that part's bad. The zoning part we have to do. Some of the things we really. I mean, it's not that there's no rush. They have to be done. Like there's adaptive reuse. I mean, we don't have any mills that are going to be. So that it can be done, but not. It could be done.
So that's a good point. Mike, could we peel off something that absolutely, like adaptive reuse, that we really don't have to address till after the first of the year? So we can focus on the stuff that's most critical to the town?
We could, I think that makes it
Harder?
more confusing.
Okay.
I would rather just go through the bill and try to make sure that everything that's in the bill is in the regulations.
We've already blended that into the zoning.
already done.
Yeah.
So the language is gonna be in front of us, we can just say yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind, not a good idea.
But, you know, some of these other discretionary provisions you're talking about need to be worked on. And,
Yeah, so, I mean, there's discretionary provisions in the zoning code that we're changing because is specific to the town of Narragansett. Or there's discretionary changes that Mike's talking about, especially the subdivision regulations, you know, that there has to be a policy decision. The law allows
One or the other.
one or the other, so that's more of that's a total planning department, that's not really even a legal decision. The legal decision is you can do one or the other, it's really the board, the council, or,
Okay,
you know.
but there are discretionary, like that, obviously I've talked about a lot, the dimensional stuff.
Yeah, no, that's pure zoning, and that's, you know, we
gotta get that in front of the council so they have time to.
yeah, and I know in Cranston here, you know, if you have you shouldn't see any subdivisions in the next 3 months, or in 3 or 4 months, because it would be malpractice, because it's gonna be so much easier in January. Why fight the battle now? So, so we shouldn't see any, they shouldn't see any applications. I know we literally don't have one subdivision application in Cranston, so, meaning that there'll be some, little bit of time, a lot of the developers are waiting for the law to change before they.
And I understand that, but as far as this board's work, and when we have to get it to the council, the only thing that matters is November 1.
Correct,
So
for the advertising.
you guys may have light meetings in November and December on the regular night because of that,
Yeah.
but we gotta get stuff done before November 1st. Right? Okay.
Yep.
So let's set 2 meetings. I only looked at one on my own calendar. I can look now. The 12th's okay for me. Did you guys look?
I'm open all of them.
Me too.
I'm back for the 17th forward, the 12th I'm not available.
Well, we'll have a quorum on the 12th, because there's 3 of us that can do it. Joe's got to look. You can let Heidi know.
Yeah, if necessary on a Thursday. Tuesday's always bad for me. Wednesday, Monday, those are fine.
So the 12th, I have nothing. What's the next date you want to do, Mike? Look, I mean, we can give ourselves time in case we need another one, right? The 23rd? On 18th, the day after our regular meeting.
Right, so you want to leave that off?
I'd rather.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, staff is available any of those.
And then Mark's back, right?
Yeah, I'm back.
So the 23rd is a Monday.
And I'm doing the subdivision, so you might want to do the zoning while I'm gone.
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah, you want to do the 12th and the 24th? That's a Thursday.
But Joe, Tuesdays are bad for you?
Tuesdays are bad, okay.
Yeah.
So
Tuesdays are bad for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good, I'm good all 5
So
days.
can we do the 12th and the 23rd?
Yep.
All right, and then Heidi can, or Jill or Mike or somebody can send
Yeah.
I'll send those out to
an email out to everybody.
Yep.
Great, thank you guys. And then
Okay.
Steve, did you want to just give us
Yeah,
some
so,
highlighted view
I mean,
of
you know,
whatever?
well, and Mr. Craven actually wrote the zoning law, so that's why he,
Why didn't he stick around?
He sponsored it, he didn't write it.
Yeah, he did sponsor it, but,
Oh, so he knows the buildings.
so, I mean, I would say, you know, first of all, whatever applications are in the pipeline now, we have to review them. Staff has to review them under the current law, and we have to review them even at our December meeting under the current law. My opinion is that if it gets reviewed ahead of time and doesn't get to zoning by the December meeting, it should come back to planning in January to be re-reviewed under the new, and frankly, especially under the new zoning ordinance, a lot of the criteria is easier. They're going to get rid of least relief necessary. They get rid, you know, they're getting rid of, they're eliminating greater financial gain. So those are no longer criteria. But this board will be more, it'll go more toward the comprehensive plan, you know, whether it was, you know, the type of lot it was, et cetera. So your review will change. So no longer will there be, the shrinking of the decks will, in my opinion, go away, because that's, it is really, that's the least, you know, they get denied on being not the least relief necessary. That criteria will no longer be there.
So this being denial will not be
It is
decreased.
just, it's no longer a reason for denial. It's not even a criteria for review.
The problem with that, Doctor, is you would have to have something else to hang the
Correct.
planning board's hat on to suggest a denial of something like that.
Such as not in conformance with the comprehensive plan, so it's going to be.
Public health and safety?
It's going to be more, and this board's gonna be really reviewing it more toward the comprehensive plan aspect of it, you know, the FAR, things like that. So, this review is gonna be a lot different, but you're not going to, unfortunately, you're not going to, while this was a package for affordable housing, et cetera, all this is really the builders, the Rhode Island Builders Association, ability to build bigger houses.
Yeah, the 15% essentially automatic bump has nothing to do with affordable housing.
Correct.
It just has to do with
building.
magnitude of the building.
Correct, with building bigger houses. So, and as we work on the actual laws in the October, you know, workshops, you know, you'll actually see the detail of the laws, and then you can ask questions as they go along. No, you know, no use giving me going over law by law now. It's better as we go over it in October. Any questions that you guys may have at that point. But, you know, I talked to Mike and Jill regarding, you know, just, it doesn't, Narragansett moves slowly, but if something comes in on December 15th and they review it on December 20th, you gotta review it under the current law. But we definitely should, I think all the applicants with attorneys know that the law is changing.
But this conversation should occur.
Yeah, those
so at least they
conversations.
know.
And that can be directed toward me.
Because that could be a great expense for them. They bring experts in November and have to do it again.
Yeah, correct, yeah, absolutely.
Terry, can I still do this?
You're paying twice.
Excuse me, Doc.
So they should be at least made aware.
We will have that conversation with any applicants from here to the end of the year.
Because they can get their stuff in and then just wait until January for review. Yeah, I mean, a lot of,
Right. But as a practical matter, if they came before this board in December, they wouldn't get a decision from zoning in the same month, would they? Well, maybe they would.
only if they were put on the December, you know, that same month, same month.
But that's not done because you guys don't know if we're gonna continue.
Correct. We have to advertise in advance.
Right.
So, and a lot of the subdivision, in my opinion, and Mike, stop me, a lot of the subdivision regulations, it's no use going over it with this board now because they're becoming administrative.
Yeah, that's the big thing I took out of it.
Yeah, so there'll be the smaller, you know, subdivisions under a certain amount without zoning variances become administrative.
Well, we would still need to bless the language that's in our ordinance. No?
Certain ones,
Or no?
I think a lot of that language is pretty firm.
minor subdivisions will be administrative essentially. Major subdivisions, major land developments will have two
But we don't
steps
even need to weigh
instead
in
of
on the
three.
language change for that. That would just be incorporated part and parcel from the law.
Correct.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
council would,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
council would just,
Correct.
they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, and we don't have do we have, we don't have a lot of major subdivisions here.
No.
So,
The variance trigger has caused most of our major subdivisions, and I believe the variance trigger is also coming away.
yeah, and in addition, you know, the hard part that Mike's working on is, you know, it's called unified development, which is basically like a comp permit, but for a regular subdivision.
Right.
We have to come up with all regulations for that.
Right.
But that would be, so that would make the zoning, the planning board, that would really eliminate the zoning board.
Zoning board's role's getting decreased a lot.
Extreme, so the role is, because the planning board's going away, there's no longer a planning board review, it goes right to Superior Court. There'll be unified development for big projects where you guys will act as the zoning board, but they're not waivers like a comp plan, but you'll still have to do the zoning decision, so that'll eliminate the zoning board.
So an appeal of our decision on a subdivision doesn't go to
Goes to the
zoning?
right to Superior Court. Yeah.
Which means we have to be much more legal in our decisions.
Your decisions, I have no problem with your decisions. I mean, we haven't really lost it.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Well, we want you to be
Yeah, no,
confident.
yeah, no, I mean,
That's
besides, you know, everyone writes up their reports well, when we know it's going to be challenged, put a little bit more effort into the motions, et cetera, which makes the record a lot easier to pull out. And part of it is there's going to be, there's probably, you know, there's going to be less appeals. Really, the appeals are going to be by abutters.
Yeah.
You know.
And they're going right to court, Superior Court.
Yeah, right to Superior Court, which probably getting rid of planning boards and getting rid of SHAB is probably a quicker.
But the adjudication, that's gonna take a lot longer, because the courts will be backed up, they're always backed up.
Do you see this as a move to try to, I'm from Massachusetts, so we have a land court established in Massachusetts. Do you see that?
Well, they're
This
gonna
being
they have a
moved
land court, they're gonna have a land court docket, which is the first step to a land
to
court.
land court.
So,
They're going to be assigning a single judge, is that right?
well, but
No.
in Providence, yes.
Talk about jobs.
But I don't, I mean, there's one, in the counties, like in Newport, there's one civil judge. I don't. they can't-
I see.
I don't know how they're gonna speed
So
that
they
up.
wouldn't send everything up to Providence, it would have to be
No, it's still
dealt with in the
county.
county.
local.
I forgot that part.
So, so that, I mean, that's where we are, and, you know, I think, once we get to special meetings, then we can talk it out as we go.
Yeah, so also, in addition to that, let's try to pin down the council through Janet for a work session
Yeah,
with them in October.
in October, so that would be,
The 25th?
Yeah, it should be after our.
It doesn't have to be on the night of a council meeting, but if that
Yeah.
works,
no, their meetings are on the 2nd and the 16th. Then they have 3 weeks off because it's one of those 5-week.
well, the 16th would probably work for an overview, no? We're not giving them, we're not presenting what we're recommending, we're saying, this is what's coming down the road.
Do we want to do it on the 25th, so we've had our meetings have been kind of.
Yeah, we
They
have-
might not get them. I mean, if they can, if they're willing, but, you know, to your point,
I'll have
they're
to
not
talk with
willing,
Janet.
they haven't been willing to set special meetings outside of their regular council.
Yeah, I'll check if I,
Oh, you can
Monday
talk
the
to Mark?
16th available, because Monday the 10th is
Columbus Day.
Columbus Day.
Indigenous people, geez.
And the second Monday is usually my North Providence, which gets moved. But anyway, just schedule it now.
Yeah.
Columbus under the bus.
Well, we don't want to do it if you're not going to do it.
No, so
Right.
16th
And-
may be an issue, but I'll know that next week. I'll know that by.
And Steve, you're gonna wanna talk to Mark to make sure that he's okay with it?
Yeah, he's the council's attorney.
Right, so you will talk to him.
Yeah, once we get,
All right.
once we get it.
And then Mike, you guys can confirm that meeting date to the board.
The council meeting.
Yeah, and the board doesn't have to be there, but if you and Steve can do the presentation, board can be there and not be there, it's up to you.
Like if they could do it on the 25th, I'd like to be there at that working meeting. I mean, obviously, if they don't want to, then you do whatever you can, but.
So the option would be October 25th. Okay.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Steve, what role do you see the zoning board having now? I mean, when I was going through this, I mean, I'm looking and I looked at both pretty thoroughly, zoning and subdivision, and
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you'll have, remember, all the applications where they're asking for forgiveness.
right.
So though, you know, any violations, you know, I think normal, normal additions.
Yeah.
You know, not small ones, but normal additions will be, you know, they'll still get there. Because we have the FAR requirement.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
You know, that things get kicked to zoning more here than they would, I mean, a lot of the things, like for instance, you know, they have those substandard lots of record. Well, those substandard lots of record, you used to have to go before the zoning board to, you know, to approve those, and those are now automatically approved. So, you know, those will be going away. I mean, you know, even Sakarchi said as part of the law would be to minimize there's going to be more work for administrative staff, especially the building official.
Yeah.
Less work for the zoning board, and in bigger towns, more work for the planning board with unified development.
I know you said adaptive reuse doesn't apply here.
I think it does. I think it potentially could.
Let me ask you just a question. Would people be able to convert a commercial building into residences without a zone change? Is that what that does?
Yes, without a zone change, it wouldn't be a use variance in a commercial zone, or it has to be 50.
Wouldn't be a use
Right, it has
variance.
to be, there's an affordability component to it.
That's it.
It has to be some affordable units.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
don't have to come to
That's
us
in there
and the
as well,
council
yeah.
for a zone change.
Correct. And there'd be, they shrink the parking to like one spot. All this, you know, when I say in Narragansett, you know, I mean, if you just look at the buildings, there's a lot of metal buildings, there's not a lot of you know, there's no vacant office buildings, you know, that you may.
No, but there's potential.
And it has to be existing structure, you just can't go.
Right.
Can't go into a commercial zone and do it. It has to be an existing structure.
There's some potential in town, but not a lot.
The vision on that are the mills in Woonsocket, Pawtucket, that have been converted to residents, that they make that easier to do that.
Exactly, it stops us, you make it, rather than having to go before the city council and get a zone change, you make it kind of a use of right, as long as you comply with all the substandards.
Could a storage unit be converted into a residence?
Condo storage units?
Could be. I don't think that's part of the list. There is somewhat,
It's not
the list
pre-existing
for
structure.
a lot of conversions is limited.
Oh, that's
It doesn't
right.
say and others similar. And I don't think that would work. I don't think they can do that.
So, all right, thank you, Steve. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Doc? Move to adjourn. Seconded, non-debatable.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, guys.